Hi guys, I hope you're well. If you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Blakemore and I'm a primary school teacher here in Dubai. In this video, we're going to be going over a range of different things that I believe you should pack when you move to the UAE. Now, this video is kind of split into two different videos. I've got one video that's sort of talking about what's in my bag. Although it's not themed specifically for Dubai, it does include lots of different things that I brought with me to Dubai. Things like my camera, things like a power bank. This is going to be your hand luggage that you won't be able to take into your main luggage due to aviation rules and all those sorts of different things. So feel free to go and check that one out before then checking this one so that you can see a full list. Now, first thing we're going to talk about is this. This is something that you're definitely going to want to pack. It is my new guide that I've created for those people who are coming and moving to the UAE. It's specifically designed for teachers, but I do think it would be beneficial for others too. So feel free to check that out on my website, Teachtraveltriumph.com. It not only covers what to pack, it also covers all the sorts of different things that you need to consider, such as attestation before you come, along with a range of different things that you need to think about when you are here to set up, such as your phone, your transport, your accommodation, your internet, your loads of different things, along with how to feel comfortable with a range of different tips from someone who's been here for 3 years. It's perfect because it's that nice sort of period where I also understand what it's like to come here for the first time, and I've also got that experience along with a range of different photos to make this look attractive to support you guys. So feel free to go and check that out. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video talking about a range of things that you need to pack. So item number one isn't really an item, it's right at the bottom down here, and it's a suit bag. Now inside here, although I'm not going to unzip it because it's full of different bits and pieces, you will need shirts, suits if you are a guy. Obviously, formally for women, your outfits can be completely different, but you're going to want to have that formal attire so that when you go to school, you have that available, because many schools out here are a little bit more formal, I would say, compared to schools in the UK. I have to wear a shirt and tie, whereas in the UK, I would be okay with just a jumper and a shirt or an open neck shirt. So it's a little bit more formal, so you need to think about bringing shirts and those extra bits and pieces. I would say this takes up the main part of your suitcase in terms of your work clothes and your shoes. Now, when it comes to work shoes, I chose to take a couple of pairs, but reflecting back on that, I'd just go for a brown pair because it sort of goes with everything. As I said, this isn't really fashion advice, but it's useful for you when you're looking at coming here. So let's move on to the next item. It helps to actually pack the bag. So this is going in here. These are really useful. These are packing cubes. So as you're packing the bag, you can really segment things so that when you get to Dubai, UAE, wherever you are going, whichever emirate it is, you can just take these packing cubes out and it makes it really easy to unpack your stuff. I missed the bag. That's really awkward and terrible. One of the things I don't have in here at the moment are vacuum bags. They're really good because you can just vacuum out any air and it creates lots of space in your bag basically, because you're going to want to take lots of things with you. So clothing wise, once you've thought of all your formal stuff, your shoes and bits and pieces like that, he says, packing them into the bag, you're going to want to think about smart casual. Smart casual is for things like your brunches and going out experiences. For me, I just took a pair of chinos, and what was nice about that is that that then doubled up as a going out outfit. For me, short sleeve shirts, although now very creased because I've put it down here, will be perfect not only for work then, but also for the beach, and then also for that smart casual scenario. So I wouldn't put my hangers in, but that's going in the bag. From there then, we're going for jeans. Now, jeans is often a weird one because a lot of people think, you don't really need jeans, surely, it's a hot country. And initially, yes, it is a hot country, but one, for smart casual and going out, but two, because it can get cold in the winter, jeans are useful to pack. So it's a versatile item, and if you want to go traveling, then again, jeans are fantastic. One thing I should have said as I started this video is all these things that I'm packing are things that you can get here in the UAE. However, the UAE is an expensive country, so taking advantage of somewhere like Primark is going to save you lots of money when you come over here, because it can be quite expensive to set everything up initially. So next up, you've done smart casual, then you're looking at sport, because you're going to want to make sure you're burning the calories that you consume during the first couple of weeks. You will consume a lot of calories, both through social and other bits and pieces like that. You want to prevent the Dubai stone that I've spoken about in a previous video. So yeah, Sport clothing is important. I choose for shorts that can double up as PE kit, so just plain black shorts. These Under Armour shirts are fantastic because it's really good for wicking away the sweat, which can happen quite a lot when you're working out outside, especially during the summer. That's going in the bag. This is the worst packing technique ever. This is another one that's quite interesting. I find these are fantastic. This is, again, the same material as what I had on the other one for an Under Armour garment, but you can see it's long sleeve. Now, these are extremely light. So they're not only just useful for traveling, but also in the winter. Let's say you go into the cinema where it can be a little bit colder. I can just quickly pull this out of a bag or something along those lines, and I've got an extra layer. So you don't want big woolly coats when you come to Dubai, but it can be useful to have extra layers so that you can have them in those really cold air conditioning areas. Beach. Now, one of the best things about living here in Dubai, in the UAE, are the amazing beaches that are available. So obviously, for me, not only do I sometimes go for shorts that I can double up both as sports and beachwear, swimming shorts, fantastic, girls, bikinis, swimming costumes, all those different bits and pieces. Then again, I've got extra floral shirts that I will throw in the bag. Those are really good because and then it's just an extra layer. Now, one of the things you need to think about is when you go to the beaches here in Dubai or the UAE, you need to think about the laws. When you come off the beach of a public beach, such as Kite Beach, JBR, you need to make sure that you have this extra layer so that you can throw this over the top. You can't be walking around like you would perhaps in Spain with your top off once you've come away from the beach. You need to be respectful of the laws here in the UAE. From there then, I almost forgot, obviously trainers are going to be important. You've got work shoes, trainers, and then you'll probably want another pair of sort of smart, casual type of shoes. I brought some loafers with me, but they don't get worn very often. So again, this is something that you could probably pick up if you need to. So trainers are going to go in the bag. Always pack the trainers towards the bottom. Next is casual clothing. Casual clothing go for comfortable, lightweight materials. So nice cotton t-shirts. I find the combination t-shirts are really, really good. This one here, for example, is a lightweight t-shirt when compared to a slightly thicker material, because in the summer it can get extremely sweaty. So think about that one. Vests. Now, when you're thinking about vests, you might want to bring vests, but also think about the fact that malls showing shoulders is allowed, but you also need to be extremely careful about the way in which you wear them. For example, at work, so going back to that smart attire, you won't be able to, if you're female, show shoulders. You'll need to think about making sure that dresses and things like that go below the knees. Sometimes at certain schools all the way down to the ankle, and then clothing has to come over the shoulder. Sometimes again, all the way down full arm, depending on the school that you go to. Also at the beach, making sure that you pack your sunglasses. That again would be something that I would pack in my hand luggage because it's something that I don't want to break if it gets thrown around. You might also want to factor in eye care. So prescription glasses again can be quite expensive out here. So get those done in the UAE if you've got things like contacts and glasses that you need to update and bits and pieces like that. Prescription sunglasses, again, a lot of people will go for prescription sunglasses, which again can be quite expensive. I find these extremely useful. This is a microfiber towel and it's extremely lightweight. You can see it packs away into nothing, but then when it opens up, well, it's a towel. It's huge. So really lightweight, makes it really easy to come down to the beach and yeah, just quickly unravel this. I find this really useful in a range of different situations, also in terms of going to the gym. So this in the bag. Flip-flops, obviously really important for going to the beach and casual and those sorts of things, although I seem to only have one at the moment. That's in the bag. This has been an absolute lifesaver on many different situations, both with traveling from the UAE, but also going down to the beach. This is a portable bag that you'll be able to find linked in my bio, just like lots of other things that I've shown you in this video. And as you can see, it packs down to nothing, basically, and it goes even smaller than that if I took the time to actually pack it properly. And then these are really good because not only can I pack the towel in, I can also pack all the other bits and pieces that I'm going to be taking down to the beach, such as a full 1.5 litre bottle of water, camera, all those bits and pieces. So this is really useful. When you go down to the beach, obviously one of the things you're going to want to factor in when it's really hot and sunny, which it always is pretty much here in Dubai, sun cream, extremely important because it can also be very expensive here in the UAE. So you're going to want things like a factor 30. I thought I'd want lots of Factor 50 when I came out here, and it's just sitting on a shelf basically. It sometimes goes on my face, but the majority of the stuff is like a Factor 15 to 30 for me personally. Obviously for you that might be slightly different, and I prefer the oils and the spray ones, and I can't really find certain ones that you spray on here in the UAE. So that's something to look out for, and think about the cost. You know, you can find those really cheap toiletry places in the UK, whereas you won't really find them here other than during sales. So that's really important. And then from there, obviously after sun, for after you've been in the sun. So make sure you stock up on that, because that can also be quite expensive. Thinking about toiletries, now obviously toiletries, like I said at the start of the video, you can find everything here in the UAE, but it can just be expensive. So I want to talk about some of the things that are obvious, and then go on to some of the things that might not be so obvious later on. So oral hygiene bits and pieces, toothpaste, toothbrush, you know the drill. Again, these are things obviously you'll be able to get here. I feel like I should be packing this. Grooming and shaving bits and pieces, nail clippers, tweezers, all those sorts of things. Obviously that's going to be quite important. Aftershave, if whatever you want to go for. Shampoo and conditioner. One thing I would say though, be really cautious about the amount that you bring. One of the mistakes I made, again going back to that video about mistakes that I made moving here to the UAE, is that I took too much shampoo and conditioner. It was a wise choice, because again, it can be quite expensive out here, but at the same time, it really weighs your baggage and luggage down. So think about that when you come out here. Just think about those specialist products that you might need. Talking about specialist products, for me as a guy, hair product is a bit of a specialist product. You can get bits and pieces out here, but you can also, it can also be a bit of a struggle to find certain products. This, for example, is only like £3–4. If I wanted to get this here in the UAE, it would be £10, which I don't want to pay. So that's also something to really consider. Dry shampoo is quite challenging to get out here, and again, quite expensive. Specialist shampoos and conditioners, again, quite expensive out here. And then there's other bits and pieces that you need to be considerate of, and I'll make a little bit of a list on there. Books, again, this comes back to you being quite weighty, so think about the amount of books that you bring in. Most people will bring something like a Kindle or just simple audiobooks or something along those lines. The problem is, yes, books are weighty. I waited until my second time coming out to bring a few more books, because books are weighty. The problem you have is that books are also very expensive out here. I would say one tip that I would give you is to buy books in the airport. That way no one's going to be worrying about your luggage allowance and things like that, because that's just like your extra. So you can buy a few bits and pieces from like W.H. Smith, books that you want to buy, and it's going to be cheaper than buying them here in the UAE, because this, for example, was £16 when the RRP was actually £13. So there you go. Other than that, there's lots of other little technical bits and pieces that you want to consider. So I really highly advise you check out the hand luggage bag. It's like a what's in my bag type video, but that will make you think about the things that you want to bring. Things like travel adapters, things like power banks, things like obviously a laptop, but your school might provide a laptop. Then you're going to want to make sure you think about your documentation, but your documentation is going to go in your portable, your hand luggage, because you don't want to put it in here just in case it gets lost and it's game over. So make sure you carry your documentation with you. You're going to want to make sure you bring things like your passport, driver's license, attested documentation. You might need police clearance. That depends on whether your school says you need it or not. You're also going to want to bring passport photocopies. So I've actually forgotten the documentation myself, so I'm actually going to my guide. You might also need your QTS certificate and your transcript. I had to ask my mum to post my transcript out to me, which is a little bit of hassle, so make sure you take that one with you. You might need, obviously, if you're a family, marriage certificate and bits and pieces for your children, such as birth certificates, travel insurance. Then you've got the novelty bits and pieces. So for me, for example, when I come out here to the UAE, the one thing I like to pack is some Yorkshire tea bags, because I find they're terrible here, the tea bags. Just they're on these little tea bags that are on strings. You'll see what I mean when you come out here, and they're just not as strong, basically. Gelatin sweets, so unless you go to the non-Muslim sections of certain shops like Spinneys, You will struggle to find certain sweets like jelly babies, fruit pastels, because it contains gelatin. So as a result, the sweets are more expensive, so I'll just pack those. That's my own little favourite thing. Some people say that stock cubes are better in the UK versus here in the UAE, so maybe that's something you might want to consider. Something that I really need to include as well, which I think is quite important. Yes, you can get female sanitary products out here, but some people again will say, and I've heard from other women, that they're better in the UK. Family planning, bits and pieces, although it's Sharia law, a Muslim country, you can also get those bits and pieces out here too. So yeah, it's nothing to worry about, but again, expensive and those bits and pieces. So there's a real theme here about, yes, you can get everything out here in the UAE, but it's just a little bit more expensive. So think about the things that you're going to bring out here. It's usually a specialist toiletries, home comforts, and other bits and pieces. I keep remembering little bits and pieces. Photos. Make sure you pack photos of your family. It makes it a lot easier to set up your home when you first get here. It's something that I completely forgot, which was another mistake I made. So, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Again, feel free to check this one out, which I've referenced in the video. I ended up using this when filming this video because I forgot the different bits and pieces that you guys will need to pack. My memory is poor and like a sieve, so yeah, feel free to check this out, teachtraveltriumph.com. It's available now. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you're new, subscribe to the channel to see more content about teaching here in Dubai, such as Q&As and bits and pieces like that. Like the video, that's always really appreciated, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Until then, I'm out.